Dark Lotus is about to close its petals and sink back under the water. Better catch it while you can. It's just this way, at the Dim Carnival.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is a podcast where we talk about the Insane Clown Posse and all of the stuff they do, all their various comings and goings. And this week, we're continuing to talk about a going. We're talking about the Tales from the Lotus Pod, the very first Dark Lotus album, and we're finishing up this week with the final 4 tracks. So, guys, are you sad to leave this album behind after this week? Nobody cares.
I love it, but it's no bizarre, you know. That I do love the album. It's a good album.
I feel like it's been a journey for us.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
But I'm
looking forward to what's next.
Exactly. This is the transition period for me when I'm getting out of the band, so the more and more like we're straight up going to be listening to records that I never heard before. So, ready for it.
And for those of you wondering what's next, we finally nailed it down because it's a little tricky to navigate the discography of Psychopathic Records. So what's next is Forgotten Freshness Volume 3. And I'm excited because it has some of my very favorite ICP tracks of all time on it, or at least one of them. And I'm excited to talk about that. And it'll be interesting as we get very close, very, very perilously close to the 6th Joker's card. But before we get there, let's talk about Wanting to Die. So if you haven't listened to track 13 off of Tales from the Lotus Pod, it's called I Want to Die. If you haven't listened yet, go ahead and take a listen right now. We'll get back to you. Guys, this is a pretty good song.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You know, for me, I hated it when I heard it. I was like, oh my god, it's boring, stupid. And then I listened to it about 6 more times. And each time I listened to it, I liked it more. It was weird.
No, it's a song that really grows on me, like you said, Steve. Like, it's not a track I would think about if I was thinking about Tales from the Lotus Pod, but like, if it comes on, I'm like, oh yeah. And again, this is one of the 4 tracks that Mikey Clark produced. That's why the music is good.
I would say, yeah, the more that I listened to it, the more that I liked it.
You know, what's weird is when it first kicks in, and I did not know who was singing or rapping at the very beginning. According to Genius, it's Monoxide Child.
Yeah, it is Monoxide.
And his voice is just so different than anything I recognize, anything else he's done. I couldn't be mistaken. But it reminded me, every time this song comes on, since us doing this research, it reminds me of this Christian rap group called 12th Tribe. And I don't know. I mean, just like the way the music is and the way, especially Monoxide's voice sounds in the beginning.
Huh. That's funny that there's a Christian rap group called 12th Tribe because there was a non-Christian like metalcore group called 12 Tribes.
Huh.
Yeah. I saw them
What year was that?
It was the year Zayo put out the album that was on Ferret Music, so like 2001, 2002, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 12th Tribe was out in
90s.
This album I'm talking about probably came out in 90s.
Well, I agree with you,
Steve. Same
guys. Well, I agree with you, Steve, that his voice sounds different. He's rapping like much lower.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a different kind of voice.
Yeah.
But when that little do when that starts, I'm always like, this is some fake ass shit. You know, like that's my first reaction. Is like, what is this fake ass shit?
What?
I don't know. It's for some reason to me, it makes me feel like I don't know what they're trying to do. You know,
they're trying to die.
No, just the music parts when it starts plinking at the beginning. It sounds like a spoof. It sounds like a Psychopathic Writers song to me.
I could totally see
I guess
that.
I see that.
Yeah.
And then, but then when the real beat starts and it's a little bit more serious, and as soon as Monoxide starts rapping, then I'm like, oh shit, okay, right, it's a serious song. But I feel like they're right on the edge.
Do you think that they were trying to go for like with the plinking stuff? Do you think that they were trying to go with like make it be a little bit more ominous? Like, do you feel like if they had played that on like a harpsichord or a piano instead of having it be like a synth sound, it would work better for you?
I assume that they specifically chose that sound because it was a common sound of the era, but that they're trying to make it just sound more serious, like more mature, more adult. This ain't
your granddaddy's synthesizer. What I love about Monoxide Child's opening verse is that he wants to have his soul put in a butcher knife.
Hell yeah, that's the first note I wrote.
That's so good. That's such a good concept for a horror movie. Just like, once again, the Psychopathic Records family comes up with an amazing concept for a horror film.
I didn't feel like Shaggy's verse was very strong. Like, I think Monoxide's super good, and he ends on that really good note. And then, I don't know, Shaggy sometimes when he's trying to be serious, it just doesn't really work for me. But I love he does have one excellent line in his first verse when he says, "Let the wagons come take me away from the killing fields." I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're correct. Wagon.
Yeah. What I liked about this song was that my first instinct was that it was going to be like a song about dying by suicide, like it'd be depressing. And then they're saying why they want to die. It's like, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and it's not as scary, or like it's not as like melancholy and dark, or I mean, I can't say it's not dark. It is dark. But it's not as hopeless. Like, like they want questions answered, and they want, there's like, they have different reasons why they want to die. Like, Violent J wants to die so he can cut off his angel wings and make wingdings. and he wants to like use his long black tongue and stick it in his homie's ears. And he wants to know if thunder is really God Bolin. It's awesome.
Yeah, once again, Violent J, like everyone else, like once again, you can see why Jay doesn't like this album, because like it's clear during when they were making the album, like everyone's trying to think of the most sinister, like dark stuff they could think of, and he's like, I'm gonna cut my angel wings off and fry them up like wingdings.
Well, guys, I mean, he's actually being pretty vulnerable in this.
Sure.
This verse, like he doesn't really know how to communicate the way that he feels, and is basically what I think he's trying to say. And yeah, man, and I do think it's funny and silly, but also I felt like it's pretty heartfelt at the end when he's talking about not having a relationship with his dad, and then he talks about his imagination as a kid, which is the thing that drives him in all of his creative endeavors, was these things that he thought about as a kid. So I think it's fucking cool, man.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm just saying, like, it's clear he's not on the same page as everyone else throughout this album.
Absolutely. Well, and then you got Jamie's verse right after, where he basically just slays everybody on the track.
Yeah. He
pulls out that amazing thing that he can do, Great flow. Yeah. Everything sounds great. Amazing verse.
Yeah. It's crazy how good Jamie Madrox is, but like most of the time he's just rapping about how he wants people to touch his butt.
He just knows how to put a flow together,
Yeah.
Yeah, he sure does.
He's good at rap.
I wanted to mention though, Steve, you said the long black tongue, and last week on Black Magic, that's part of the chorus too. Keep your black tongue off of me. I wonder if those are connected.
Probably.
Well, because there was some other things that I thought might be connected too, and let me see if I can pull this together. Violent J says everybody's following his hearse. And then later, in Jamie Madrox's verse, he's talking about his friend that died, who made different decisions and now he's dead, and that he's following his friend in the hearse. He sees him through the window and he's crying blood. And then in the previous verse, Jay said if he was dying, then he would like haunt people in mirrors. And I'm wondering if those two things,
that's awesome.
Violent J.
That's definitely connected. And if it's not, everybody fucked up.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
doesn't Blaze talk about being in a hearse as well?
He does, actually. Yeah.
Maybe they're all just like they all want to die. And
Actually-
then they do, and then the person after them is talking about how it's them.
Right.
The-
Shaggy says the wagons, which is which is also a hearse, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so only
Ooh.
Monoxide Child is the only one.
Do you really think that Shaggy 2-Dope, as Genius suggests, is referencing Kurtz from Heart of Darkness? Or
No.
do you think he's referencing Kurt Cobain? Or do you think he's not saying Kurt at all?
I actually don't know what the lyrics are there, but when I saw this on Genius, I was like, that's definitely not what he said.
But I do
thought-
like
I thought he
that
said
it's
Hertz. I thought he said Hertz, and it was like a play on the commercial, like the commercials for the car rentals, where they put you first. And
yeah, I think that's probably most likely.
because I'm dumb, and he doesn't seem like he's the most intelligent person either. So that was what I thought he would say.
It's like maybe the most in-depth annotation on an ICP-related track I've ever seen.
Right. Oh,
It's
compared to
crazy.
some doozies that we have coming up on some other
Yeah.
tracks.
Also, I like the annotation on "I'll take my halo off, give myself a ladder, hang it on the wall. Maybe you'll think it's a gold record." The annotation is he is going to put his halo on the wall like this, and then they have a picture of a framed gold record of Great Malenko, which is pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, that's good. Also, the wingdings 2 lines, the annotation is, if he gets wings like this, and it has a picture of an angel, he gonna cut them and cook them to make this. And it has a picture of fried wings. I love it.
These are good.
Jiggles, if that's you. Mwah.
Shadowlander made that one.
Oh, Shadowlander. I don't know him. I don't know
That's
her.
5 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's way before we started doing this, I think.
it's true.
All right. Guys, wingdings aren't actually wings. They're little symbols.
Right, it's a font.
Yeah.
Guys, is this chorus really, really bad?
No, I like it.
Yeah.
Really?
I like it.
Either, no.
It's
You're
about-
wrong.
It's about the same as the last track on it's about the same as like the chorus on Pass Me By and It's All Gone. Like
I don't
it's
think so, man.
on the exact same level as it.
I feel like it's much, much worse. I feel like this is some amateur stuff. This is
I
like
feel
a
like-
mixtape level of
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah, I felt like this was like 1988, 1989 Michael Peace Christian rap.
Maybe this is the last track that Mikey Clark produced on the album, and he was like, oh, "I'm gonna do something really cool for the chorus," and then he like pieced out before they could do it.
It's possible. Well, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like,
Well, not everything someone can do can be a home run either.
right. They wanted to fly, but they flew too close to the sun.
Oh damn! All right, shall we move on to the next track, or is there more to say?
No Mars, no ABK on this track.
No Mars, no ABK. Mars was not around.
It's like a theme for the Mikey Clark track.
Maybe Mars came in and he's like he had some crazy he had some verse about how he wants to die so he could like haunt a vagina or something. You can
So
send
you
this one out,
like
Mars.
reincarnate as it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Should we move on?
Steel Man.
All right. This next track is called The Crows, which is probably a sequel to The Loons. So if you haven't listened to this yet, go ahead and take a listen right now. The Crows, guys. Caw-caw! Reportedly also produced by Mikey Clark, but this seems like more than 4 tracks that he's produced now at this point.
The crows seem to be calling me, thought Caw.
Yes, probably my favorite Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
Gotta be.
my favorite Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy is, she asked me if I liked Monet or Manet better. I told her I like mayonnaise. She didn't respond to me, so I said it again louder. Then she walked away. It still holds up. I have like all of the Deep Thoughts books plus the Fuzzy Memory book. They're very good. I recommend. You can probably find the piece on Amazon.
I just like you telling me about them.
Yeah, they're funnier when like a buddy just quotes them.
I remember the first time you showed me those books when we were in San Francisco. I think it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
How about crows, guys? They're pretty funny too.
Sure, they're hilarious. Ryan, you probably heard this story. You guys have probably both heard this story before. I was walking to the my favorite crow story. For the record, I love crows. I think they're rad. I think that they're huge, gross, crazy birds, and I love them. And I was walking up to the I was on campus at Cal State Monterey Bay, and I was walking up to the bookstore, which because Cal State Monterey Bay is such a weirdo. When we lived there, you had to like walk up past a dirt patch from all the actual classrooms to get to the
trace across some sand dunes.
Right. So I was walking up to the bookstore. I saw a crow on sitting on the little fire hydrant there at the corner as you get to the bookstore, and it was facing away from me. It's just perched up there, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, crow?" And it turned to look at me. And the crow had a mouse head in its mouth, and the mouse head was looking at me.
Right, like in its beak, right?
Yeah. Like, it was just like, it was like, and like a little mouse head staring at me, like it was like, ah, and then like flew away, and I was like, well, that can't be good.
That's a bad sign.
So, I'm sure awesome. It's some sort of curse that's been bestowed that I'm festooned with.
I was going to say, do you guys remember my crow story from when we lived at Stonestown and I was going to SF State?
Maybe.
More info.
So it was like it was the end of the semester and it was last week and it was finals week. And so I was sitting outside in kind of like a quadrangle like space, and there were these huge like pine trees or maybe redwoods, and they were just really tall. And there was a bunch of crows in them. And so like they would fly down, and they were flying down to me because I think they're just used to like students dropping food, and they just wanted to see what I was doing. But I was like trying to study before the next class, and I had an hour and a half, so I just sat there forever. And so they're flying down and flying back up in the tree, and then so finally the crow flies back up in the tree, and then I hear all this commotion and screaming, and I learned that the scream it was a squirrel. There was just all this crazy screaming and ruckus, and I couldn't even see. And I was just kind of looking up in the trees, but everything was lost in the branches. And so I looked back down, and 3 feet away from me, all of a sudden something splats next to me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I go and I look, and at first I thought it was a grape that had been peeled. But when I really looked, it had to be like the heart of this squirrel. Like these things like mutilated the squirrel. It was insane. Or a squirrel or another bird had brought some other animal up there and they were tearing apart its carcass. But something was screaming up there too.
Or a squirrel ripped another squirrel's heart out and was like, Kalima! Kalima!
But it was crazy. I just remember being all like, oh, that's got to mean something.
That's dude.
So crows are like the coolest fucking bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Egyptian vulture.
Okay. I mean, like, crows are associated with all the coolest shit.
Death.
What about ravens?
Well, yeah,
because aren't ravens just like bigger crows?
Yeah,
a raven's just a crow.
A raven's a crow that went to college.
It's just because they're big. They're a lot bigger than a crow, right?
It's like a crow that he's been working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an eagle version of a crow.
Well, like one day a crow looked at an eagle and was like, I'm going to do that.
Like a turkey's a chicken that let himself go.
But it's interesting to me that there's so many cool things with the crows that they're involved in. But one thing that I didn't know, and Violent J has a line in his verse, he says, crows beacon, pharaoh's call. So I wanted to know, what do the Egyptians think, since there's so much of that Egyptian mythology or whatever in all this album, what do the pharaohs think of crows? And
there's Ra, the sun god, and there's Ka, the crow god.
And there's Ka, the poo-poo god.
The poo god.
He's a poop in the shape of a crow. It does appear in Egyptian mythology, the crow, and the crow symbolizes monogamy, because crows are serially monogamous. They mate for life. And that's we actually have a mating pair of crows that come every
does that
season.
mean, serially monogamous wouldn't mean mating for life.
Well, I mean, I guess if they have more than one relationship, like if their partner dies, then they would be monogamous with the next one too. So maybe they are serially monogamous.
Go
Have you
on.
ever eaten crow's cereal?
No.
The crow cereal?
That would be amazing. What a tie-in.
What would the crow cereal be?
Tears.
All these scabs that look like heroin spilling out of it.
Oh, that's a good one.
No,
it would be faces.
Yeah. No, I was thinking it would be like white cereal parts, and then like black marshmallow bits that are like spiky.
Crow-shaped.
No, well, they could be crow shaped, but I was thinking like the makeup, like the jagged, like the eye makeup.
Okay.
The black eye diamonds or whatever.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of like a honeycomb, but instead of it having the honeycomb holes cut into it, it would have eyes and a smile cut into it.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
And then black marshmallow crows.
Cereal's really good, guys.
Do you remember when we lived at Stonestown the first time, Bill?
No.
And we had ran out of milk, and we had Cocoa Puffs, and we used caffeine-free Diet Coke to try to see what it would taste like with the Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
We made a lot of experiments.
It's a bad one.
Anyway, do we have anything to say about this track, or?
I don't like this. The only note I have is bull.
Yeah, that's accurate. I would say this is maybe the most forgettable track and least notable track on the entire album.
Jamie says he wants to look down the neck of a severed crow's head to see what a crow can see, as though he could see through the crow's eyes?
Or out its butt?
I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking, yeah.
Oh, right down the butthole? Okay.
But that's not what a crow sees. A crow looks out its butt.
You know, I just feel more and more that something that makes these men who they are is this really like hanging on tightly to these ideas that they have when they're a kid. And I don't know whether sometimes it's magical, and sometimes it just seems kind of strange.
Yeah.
Right, like I think it's just a little bit far. Like it's a little bit too serious, maybe.
I just think that maybe they're out of ideas.
I don't know. I think the music's good. I like it okay. It's like a song that you kind of like listen to differently, maybe.
Yeah. Did we interrupt you? Did we talk about Egyptians and crows?
Yeah, they symbolize monogamy.
Good. Cool.
That's how we got on cereal.
Oh yeah, sorry, serial monogamy. Right, sorry. My bad.
We could talk about it for another 20 minutes.
No, I'm sorry. My bad.
I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch myself.
But you
know what makes me really happy? Oh.
What?
Mass murder.
Yes.
Ryan, speaking of what I was talking about earlier, have you tried the holiday offering from Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
No, I'm not even aware of what that is.
Sugar Cookie Crunch. It's really good.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. You probably have to get it off Amazon at this point because it's
yeah, right. I'll probably pass.
Wait till next year. It's still good.
It's like good till like 2022.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was considering getting some of the Monster cereals off of Amazon because I ate my last box of Blueberry.
That's a shame.
I know, that's a bummer. You said it, Steve. All right. Other things to talk about from the Crows. I think we covered it with our cereal chat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really know the song.
When it's time to die, only the crows know why.
That's
this is another track where ABK or Mars are not around.
Oh right, yeah, they're not a lot towards the end of the record.
Yeah, they just stopped. They just were like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. So let's go ahead and talk about a big old anthem that somehow doesn't end the album. It's called Juggalo Family, guys. And if you haven't taken a listen, go ahead and take a listen right now. This is a big old friggin' Juggalo anthem, guys. Juggalo Family. It's produced by Mike Mike P. And it starts off with a really good soundbite.
Yeah. Excellent quote.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Did
think
they
Violent
say
J
where
would
that-
trade 10 Juggalos for 100 mainstream fans?
No.
No. Do they ever say, like, does he say in his book, or were you able to find online? Because I didn't even think to look until just right now. Like, what interview that was from? Like, is that from an actual interview? Did they just, like, make a fake interview to say that?
I think it's the same thing as Jay just shooting from the hip. I heard 9 out of 10 death row inmates are ultra religious.
Yeah.
They want to ask me if I would trade 10 Juggalos.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
I think it's the same. No, I think it's the same. I think it's the same.
It's the people on the streets,
I
Steve.
think it's the next sentence from. It's the next sentence from. I heard 9 out of 10 death row inmates.
I never even considered that. I am so stupid.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
I just assumed it was from some interview.
It does sound like an interview.
Yeah.
But
It does, yeah.
Maybe I just really wanted it to be that, so I just like let that be in my head what it was and didn't question it.
I don't think it's from the Bill O'Reilly interview.
I don't know. It might be from Shockumentary or
Might be from Shockumentary.
yeah, it could be from a lot of things.
It's been a long time since I've seen the Shockumentary.
Pardon my typing here.
I'm just happy my neighbor stopped power washing the side of his house right before we started doing it. It's just like we couldn't have done it because it was so loud in my room.
Guys, I have a real special spot for the Blaze You Dead Homie verse on this. I think it kicks off the song in a really fantastic way. I really like this album. Like I really like this song. Like as an anthem, as just a song. It's in the vein of all the classic, album ending tracks that we know and love. But I have a very special spot for this particular verse off of this song because this is where my tattoo comes from. Blaze says, running with a hatchet straight out the lotus pod. I have a Dark Lotus tattooed on me that has a hatchet man inside of it. So that's where this comes from.
And what I love is it's kind of near where I have my Hatchet Man tattoo on my
arm. We're twinsies, except your Hatchet Man got a little body modification that you didn't ask for.
Yeah, slight. Also, mine's running through the tips of flames.
Well, mine's running inside of flames.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Twinsies to the ends.
You guys are so cute.
Now Ryan has to get a Hatchet Man tattooed inside one of his coffins on his arm right there.
Oh my gosh. That would be
Triplets.
Would be fun. I encourage this.
This song's awesome, you guys. What a good time.
Worldwide.
Man, so I was just listening to it and I love lots of things about it, but I guess the big thing that I came around with is this kind of feeling that I was mixing my feelings between them feeling sort of self-congratulatory, talking about their success and things that they've achieved, or even maybe struggles that they've overcome. But then also just paying a lot of respect and voicing that all of this has come, they've been able to achieve these things through the support of their fans. And it made me feel like it's this interesting thing that a celebration of themselves is also a celebration of their fans and vice versa. Like if they write a song to celebrate their fans, it's the best way to demonstrate what they've done is their success. So it's like, it's always related, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And I think it's also cool that in Violent J's verse, he basically admits that they had this dream of achieving a certain type of success, but then they had a realization of what they were really like meant to do and who they were really meant to be with as the ambulance goes by. And it's the Juggalos. And so they're just going to focus on these folks from now on.
Yeah. This is, there are a lot of similarities with this song.
Sorry.
It's okay. To me, there are a lot of similarities in this song to, Homies, Juggalo Homies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the ballad version of Juggalo Homies, as opposed to Juggalo Homies as a party anthem. And like, this is just, I love the Monoxide saying like, how it may like what keeps him going is like people saying like Twisted is the shit and I'm down with the clown. Like, and then like, like that. Like the hook is rad. Like mass murder makes me happy. Dead bodies make me happy. Say what you will of me. I'll always have Juggalo Family. Like and then in the ABK version, I think he says until eternity. I'll always have Juggalo. Until eternity.
Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like.
Again, the mix is a little bit off, but.
Well, it's funny that I think in some parts they're really just trying to sing off key. Like he's really not trying to sing the good notes.
Yeah. Well, so I've been watching a lot of Steven Universe lately. I'm trying to get all caught up on Steven Universe because it's like one of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's a good show, isn't it?
Rules really hard, and it just had its series finale. So I'm trying to like get there before too long. It shouldn't take me more than like 30 or 40 hours to watch the whole thing, but there's a lot of musical stuff in the show, and I love all of it. And like all the music's really good, but like Steven and his dad seem to like intentionally sing off key a little bit. And it doesn't bother me because it's like a character thing, but like I'm pretty sure it's a choice that like he's a kid and like his dad's like tries his best but isn't like, you know, like the best singer in the world. So I think that like they intentionally don't hit all the notes all the time.
Sure.
But I don't know if I trust like the Psychopathic Records family that much to be like, oh yeah, you know, like they're definitely going for that.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that.
That's it.
I think that there's some fun stuff. I like when Violent J says that if it wasn't for Shaggy, he'd still be he wouldn't be fat, he'd be hungry and crabby.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that he says. He's like, we built a team of killers with the same dream. We couldn't reach the top. We stayed B level like Charlie Sheen. And I fucking love that too. They kind of like found their niche. You know, they're acknowledging like, okay, this is what we're gonna be, and this is fucking rad.
Right. That's awesome. Which is funny because like right after this, Charlie Sheen became A level, but now he's back to like C. By which I mean he's at sea level. Like he doesn't live in an elevated area.
Good one.
Thanks. It's not.
That was a straight up Norm Macdonald joke. That was good.
Says they want to murder you in a well. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I feel like if you listen to Mars's verse, I feel like he's really trying his hardest to be like, no, I'm really cool with these guys. It feels kind of sweet, you know. He's like, I'm gonna roll with these guys. We're gonna do it, you know. But he's definitely not one of them. Did you guys feel it too? I mean, I was the only one.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
because he's just like, these are my dogs, you know. And everyone else is like, I killed everybody that I know.
Yeah. I agree, and it just kind of felt a little out of place. Like he's really, really good at grossing you out and saying super crazy misogynistic stuff, but then like when he's talking about like being cool with these guys, he clearly hasn't been around them enough to even know the lingo and
exactly.
Just like the spirit of it.
Yes.
Great song. Love it.
I love y'all.
This is a song that I was, when I was re-listening to this, thinking, wow, I really missed out when I was making my like 98 song ICP Twisted, you know, list of songs, for a playlist that I had listened to for years on my iPod, that because the Dark Lotus album didn't have title tracks, I was too lazy to go through and figure out what ones I wanted to put on my list. And I never really cared, because even if I went back and listened to it, you know, if like you have your favorite stuff and then all of a sudden something like I hadn't listened to it in like probably 8 years, and so it just seemed foreign again to me, and I was just, nah, this isn't cool the way I remembered it. And so I didn't give it a good chance again the second time through. This would be my third time through. And now listening to it, I'm like, I really missed out on having that part of just crazy jam vice more than any song on this album. And I'm not saying this is the best song on the album, but I feel like it being left out, the biggest crime.
I feel like it's one of the best songs of the album.
It's very, very good.
It's definitely a great way to end the album. So should we talk about the song that actually ends the album?
Well, I do want to say this song, the words end at 3:22, but the song is 5.5 minutes
Yeah.
long, so it's a nice long. But yeah, it's really good. It really should end the song. Really should end the album. Maybe they should have just had a 69
track?
minutes of
Nice.
silence.
Nice.
Before getting to the final track.
Yeah. So the final track is .com, which is produced by Mikey Clark, apparently. So this is definitely more than 4 tracks. If you haven't taken a listen to .com, go ahead and take a listen right now. I actually like this song, but I don't think it should be the last song on the album. Also, I kind of feel like Juggalo Family and .com being the last 2 tracks on the album, undermine a little bit of what they're going on, for what they're going for with Dark Lotus, how it's supposed to be this different thing, and it's supposed to be its own little universe. And I'm really thankful that they are on the album. It just seems like if they were really sticking to a theme, these tracks maybe shouldn't have been on there. But then I guess they probably felt like they didn't really have a strong album closer as a Dark Lotus track. So I'm not mad about it. I'm just pointing out that their theme of the album suffers a little bit, just in terms of artistry.
I totally agree, Bill. I think that's a really good call.
But this is all of at this point in time, there were a lot of websites for ICP and so many of them, and so they wanted to give a shout out to everybody who helped make ICP the phenomenon and the underground thing that was really going on at the time. And it's not a diss for me to say that the strength of ICP isn't what it once was, and that I feel a not insignificant amount of that has to do with the fact that the fucking FBI called them a gang and refuses to take them off the gang list, and so their merch isn't in every mall in America anymore. I think that's maybe one of the leading causes of why they're not as big a deal as they used to be, because Miracles was a huge fucking meme and viral sensation. And so was that first Gathering of the Juggalo, or the first Gathering of the Juggalos infomercial that they did. ICP was in the public consciousness for a long time. It still is, but I feel like the FBI has fucked with their shit a little bit. A lot, obviously. But I just at this point in time, with the internet, with everyone really getting on the internet, Juggalos were out in full force. They're this is what I'm into. This is what I want to write about. I want to cover it. I want to get home and read up on the Juggalo news, because so many of these guys were just doing shit all the time. All of them were touring constantly, so you needed to keep up on it. So there were a lot of fucking websites. And I think that at this current point in time in 2019, really the major one left standing is fagolovers.net. I don't think anyone would dispute that. And then the official ICP website.
Yeah, I tried to look up a few of these. Didn't have any success.
You mean to tell me that motherfucko.com went out of business?
Right. Well, Fago lovers, and one thing I did want to say, when we first launched this podcast a year ago, somebody shared the article that Uprocks did on Fago lovers, and there were some people that commented and said that we didn't give that we said that there wasn't any other ICP podcasts. And I don't know what other ICP podcasts there are. I know that there are Juggalo podcasts. There's definitely Juggalo podcasts.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
sure.
news and ICP, but I don't know who's going through, and so we're not trying to do anything disrespectful or anything to anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
With all of that, I super appreciate that whoever posted that article on that website. I think that's awesome. You know?
When we were starting this, I did so many searches for Juggalo podcasts, and in the iTunes, in the Apple Podcasts app and store, if you search for just the word Juggalo or the word ICP, for Juggalo, the only thing that comes up is My Brother and Me episode. Nothing comes up. And I don't know if that's FBI shit, if people legally can't, we're fucking on there. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I just don't know how to search for podcasts is what I think. But we just literally didn't know that they're out there. So if they are out there, actually, I want to know who else is doing it because the homie Jiggles, he hooked us up with Thinking Outside the Box Set. I still highly recommend everybody listen to that. I super enjoyed it. But yeah, that's the only other thing that I've known about or that anybody's clueless into. So that's why I brought it up. Is like if anybody knows anything else, I'd be down to hear what they're doing.
For sure.
But
you're talking about podcasts that just specifically talk about ICP songs, and albums, not just podcasts that talk about the latest things that are happening on Psychopathic.
Yeah, or maybe just like the mythology and stuff like that. But like specifically, we're just talking about tracks. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about this track is that to me it feels like the credits at the end of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you got everybody there and they're all riffing on each other and taking turns and some of my favorite parts are when they're reacting to the things that other people are saying or they're kind of interrupting each other or talking over each other.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my favorite parts and and then they also kind of get into a groove too where I get this feeling that it's almost like a cipher or whatever. They're all standing in a circle and they're all just kind of chanting .com, as it comes around on the beat.
I just like I like this song a lot just because it's got a cool beat, it's got cool music, but it also has like honestly like it seems like they actually put this song together because like everything fits. Like they made sure that all the syllables lined up correctly, like they didn't just read a list of shit. It like all matches. I feel.
I agree with you, but I just thought that they all had a kind of list and then they just took turns and then they just said it in a way, they got the list in front of them. So they're just reading it in time with the beat. I think they'd be able to do that.
They may have had a couple takes.
Well, because there's other times where they say like .com what or whatever, like they do little things like that.
I like when they have to say .u. That's your.
I just like there's so many like interesting things happening in here, like Twisted Thoughts Hotline of Salt Lake. What the fuck? ArizonaJuggalos.com.
Yeah,
man.
I was wondering if that was one of the ones you looked up, Ryan.
ICP Insane Championship Pool. .net.
TwistedChicks.com. What?
I gotta admit, I was hoping Twisted Chicks was one, but it's not. No, TwistedChicks.com.
That actually, so I know that it did exist back when this song came out.
Oh, really?
I definitely looked that one up.
So yeah, man, it's just, I feel like they're just kind of cracking off, and showing some respect. And I know, I mean, the like hockey team or whatever, rollerblade team that they mentioned, those got to be real too. What's the Hatchet Man basketball team? Where do I get to watch them play?
Are they a G League team? Georgia Juggalos Network Hotline.
Magic Ninjas bowling team.
Psychopathic News Hotline of Florida.
Nudes? Tasteful nudes?
Mm-hmm.
ICPhouse.com. The site can't be reached. Did you mean IPhouse.com? It's not. I did not.
I do not pee.
Yeah, all these are defunct. The domain freakshow.com is for sale. Twisted
guys,
Close Hotline of Milwaukee, Hotline of Dallas.
It's a little Poots Asylum. I feel like we're wrapping up here, but there's a couple other notes that I wanted to drop in before we say goodnight.
Good night.
The first is you mentioned before that it's hard to keep track of all of the Psychopathic releases, and I wanted to give an update that the homie Jiggles has added more to his WordPress site.
Shit.
So if you guys want to check out hatchethistory.wordpress.com, he has been adding, so he's got a track list, right, of all the albums released in order. And what he's doing is going back and adding all of the material that he can find for each album, album cover, release date, producer, track list, liner notes, images of the liner notes and stuff. So he's starting to add more stuff over there, and it's pretty fucking cool. Because I haven't owned these physical albums for like 15 years. Right? Shit. Yeah, it was about that when I sold all my records. So, it was cool to go back and see them and actually see the liner notes and look inside the albums a little bit, on some of those tracks. So, I want to give him a shout out for that. And then the other homie Rob, who usually emails us, he did email us again because we were talking about Isham and that one track last week on Headache when he says, "I'll cut the head off the devil and I'll throw it at you." That is the sample that's from Run DMC. And I only listened to that track once before we recorded the last episode, and I went back and listened to it again today, and I did not give it enough credit. That song fucking owns. It's very long, and they say a lot of shit, but there's some fucking cool shit, and it's DMC who delivers that line. It's basically them just popping off about how rad they are, and it's actually a really, really good song. There's a line in there where he says, Reverend Run is saying that he's in the place with style and grace. And I was like, oh, I've heard that line before. We've heard that line before. And then I remembered it's from Big Papa when he says all the ladies in the place with style and grace. But unfortunately, and then I even Googled it to look it up, but that is not, where Biggie got that album or got that line. Sorry. It came from a song called Inspector Gadget by Bad Boys, which apparently is just a coincidence that the record label became Bad Boy Records, but that's where that line came from. Anyways, I went down this YouTube rabbit hole of listening to those songs, but I want to encourage everybody to listen to Raising Hell by Run DMC, very good track. And then the track that Rob shared with me to try to get me onto Isham is the track that Monoxide was referencing, and that's a song called Headhunters, came out in 1993. And if you go to the YouTube page and look at the comments, there's a lot of people saying that this is the track that somebody shared with them to get into Isham. And I will tell you that this is definitely the best Isham track I've ever heard. It was really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, and I loved it, man. And so I'm going to go back and listen to some more Isham. So I want to thank Rob for sending us that email for me to check it out.
Hell yeah. Now, to peel back the curtain a little bit, to part the kimono just a bit, Ryan has been kicking around the idea that maybe we'll get a real URL at some point, and I just want to put out there, dogbeats.com is for sale. Just want to put that out there. We got that dog beats.
We'll put it in the maybe column.
Okay. Yes, we're Dim Carnival. You can find us at dogbeats.com.
Genius.
That number once again is dogbeats.com. Salino and Barnes, injury attorneys. Okay. All right.
1-888-88.
Williams.
What?
I have a new. Right.
I don't know what's happening now. All right. Thanks.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I feel really bad because there was a review of this record that I found a couple weeks ago, and I haven't been able to find it again. But it really did say that it was wholly mediocre. So I agree. All right, sorry, I disagree. This album has been fucking great.
So you enjoyed this album a lot more than you were expecting to, correct, Ryan?
Yes, much.
You
more.
didn't remember really liking it very much?
No, I liked it a lot, but it came out in the same era as a lot of different records,
right.
And I like those records a little. I like to play them a little bit more because they had consistently more fun songs on them.
Sure.
And I think that was at the time in my life, that's what I wanted ICP for. And now when I'm in a different place, or maybe not necessarily listening to this in my truck when I'm driving somewhere or whatever, it's a different environment or whatever. It's a lot more accessible to me. So I really, really did enjoy them a lot more.
Yeah. All right. Let's quickly, before we get out of here, best and favorite and least favorite tracks on the album.
I think my favorite is "And We Danced," but Alibaba might be a close, very, very close second. That song's such a powerhouse.
It is. It really, really rips some ass, literally. And least favorite?
My least favorite, Bad Rep, maybe. I don't know. None of them actually really stand out. There's not any of them that I didn't really like.
Mark of a good album.
I mean, that's saying a lot for ICP track. There's usually one or two where you're like, meh, meh.
Right.
No, it's good, man. Dug it.
Steve?
Yeah. So, it hurts me to say this one. I can't help it. It is the song that drops the R word, which is unfortunate. But Give Me That Blood is my favorite song on this album. I really love that song. And it's hard because there's some really great other ones. But, and my least favorite would just, be The Crows. And it's not because it's like a super terrible song or anything. It's just, the one I would certainly skip the most if I was listening to.
Yep, I agree. My least favorite song is The Crows just because it's the least memorable, the least exceptional. I don't think about it ever. But I think about a lot of these other songs a lot. I'm going to have to say, okay, like, it's possible I don't love a song off of this album more than And We Danced, but my favorite tracks off of the album are probably Alibaba and Swarm. Just because Swarm goes so fucking hard. So last night, I was working out, and for the first time in, like, probably a steady 8 years, I listened to AFI's Black Sails in the Sunset album, and it made me feel like I could destroy the entire universe. I was so fucking pumped. And, like, that's what Swarm does for me. And, like, those sort of tracks are invaluable. It's like Panama. Like, if you put Panama on, a party's going to happen. Instant party. It's not even a question. There is a party now. It is happening because you have invoked Panama.
I doubted that the first time you said that to me, and then you immediately put on Panama.
Yeah, there was a party. Yeah. Just happened. There was a party. So yeah, those are my favorite tracks. Really stoked that this album not only holds up well, but is like maybe better than it used to be. Problematic stuff aside.
I agree. Like I said, this was my third installation of listening to this album again. First time I really liked it. Second time, but I actually felt like there were songs I really liked and songs I didn't like at all back in the day. Second time through, after like an 8-year break or something, did not like it. And then I don't know how long it's been since then, another 8 years maybe. And then, and I like it a lot more. When we were going into this, I was thinking, this kind of sucks because I don't know that I'm going to enjoy doing this album. And then, especially listening to it, like going back and forth between the two, and just hearing it and it becoming familiar, and then also studying what they're saying, like, it just really grew on me, and I started appreciating it a lot more for the value it had, even more than the first time through, where I was just kind of like, this song either makes me feel really good or this song sucks. So it is a way better album than I thought it would.
All right, so next week we're going to be talking about Forgotten Freshness Volume 3. And we're going to assign the first 5 tracks because the first track is just a commercial. So we may not get to all 5 tracks, but we'll go ahead and assign them this time. So it's the intro, Cartoon Nightmares, Posse on Werner, Fly Away featuring Zug Island, and It. So that's it. The first 5 tracks. We're stoked to be talking about it. So we'll see you then. Until next time, please make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Dim Carnival. Email us at dimcarnival@gmail.com if you want to talk about anything. And I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And, when we attack like a swarm.